We're going to move on to round 2 winners. I will also do a round 1 losers analysis too, based on some of the projections. And of course, we're assuming that the bracket is not going to change. And so, based on the round 1 matchups, here's who I perceive to make it to round 2. So, I've stated that Armada is going to beat ESAM and Shroomed is going to defeat Axe. Although the Shroomed Axe matchup, being that it's the 8th and 9th seed duking it out, is going to be really close. I predict an Armada Shroomed matchup, and in this, Shroomed did manage to take a game as Sheik versus Armada's Peach in POW, which is really impressive considering the nerfed down throw and the weaker aerials, so it's a lot more difficult for a Sheik to find kills. People debate that Peach actually has a slight advantage in POW, but this is NTSC, where Shroomed could possibly, take some more matches, do a little bit more damage, and find some more opportunities for kills. Armada has stated that he's most likely going to go Peach against most people. In a Battle of the Five Gods, he did go Peach against Plup's Sheik. Now, Shroomed is really confident against Peach in general. Usually beats MacD. Has trained with Alan, his doubles partner, for a really long time this matchup, and he looks really solid in this matchup overall. Granted, Armada is a level above those other Peaches I have mentioned in Armada that has played with Aniolas. He has played with Amsa, Captain Jack, and Android for a really long time, and even Mutiking over the years. So Armada has a lot of experience as well. But I think this matchup is going to be really awesome. I think it's going to be really close, and if Armada plays Peach the whole time, I can see Shroom take this to game 5. Of course, if ever there's a point where Armada feels like he's at risk playing Peach versus Sheik, Armada could easily switch to Fox, and that has been historically a weak matchup for Shroomed. So I think, if Armada feels that after 2 games that it's too close and that he needs to switch out to Fox, he always has that in his back pocket. But Shroomed, I can't sleep on him in this matchup. He's incredibly strong in Sheik Peach. He has been playing that for a really long time, and I wouldn't be surprised if he took 2 games in that particular matchup. Nonetheless, I don't see him winning this. Armada just has too many tools. He can bring out the Fox. He has a load of counter picks that will work on Shroom. So I predict Armada ultimately, at the end of the day, to win this 3-1. Plup versus Mutiking. This is a rematch of Battle of the Five Gods, and prior to this set, let us look at the data here. That's going to show up on the toolbar below. So historically speaking, other than a shenanigan-y matchup where they played Captain Falcon Dittos, Pichu Dittos, and Samus Dittos, Plup has only won 1 set at Battle of the Five Gods in 8 attempts. So nonetheless, very favorable for Mutiking to win this. Granted, the last set, if we look at the latest level of play, Plup did take it clean in a 5-game set. Granted, Mutiking wasn't playing that well. He had some mentality issues. I don't know how much I should evaluate that in terms of how much that affects his play, because it seems like at every event Mutiking has something going on, and if that is a normative experience, then I have to kind of count that in terms of how I evaluate how they're going to play at Summit. Now, even though Plup won a set against Mutiking in a very impressive match, I do still feel that Mutiking is the Sheik to beat in the Ditto. I think Mutiking is incredibly strong, and I think he's going to be incredibly prepped for this matchup. And so ultimately, there's not really much to say in Sheik Dittos. They don't chain grab each other. It really just comes down to who's playing better, who's baiting the other person, who's finding the better reads, who's abusing crouch canceling more, and who's just being ever so slippery and baiting their opponent to thinking that they're good to hit their opponent and then just narrowly running away and then hitting them on whiff. It's a lot of cat and mouse chase, and it's going to be the person who's constantly adapting and who's thinking 1 step ahead that will win this match. Now, Plup has done it before, so I'm not going to count him out, but I do think Mutiking is the favorite here. And I think Mutiking's probably going to win this 3-1 or 3-2 if I were to make a judgment call here. But if Plup wins again, then I'm going to be really impressed, because I don't know the last time a Sheik has beaten Mutiking in 2 consecutive sets over a span of 2 different tournaments. I don't think it's historically happened, but I could be wrong. Maybe Shroomed did it, but every time Sheik gets close, the next time they play, Mutaking somehow widens the gap between himself and the other Sheik. Hungrybox and Wobbles, poor thing. Last time I believe Hungrybox has ever lost to an Ice Climbers was in 2013, where the infamous best of 3 set happened at Evo of Winners Finals, where Wobbles just YOLO'd it on Game 2 on Fountain of Dreams, found a lot of smashes and made a comeback, and then carried it into Game 3 and won. They played once in the past year at Battle of the Five Gods in the pools. Now, Hungrybox has his matchup down to a T, makes it insanely difficult. Nintendo, wants to kind of play other characters in this matchup against Hungrybox. It seems like a gimme for him. Maybe Wobbles takes a game, but overall, Hungrybox is just too strong, knows how to move around the Ice Climbers without getting really vulnerable. Maybe once in a while, he does get wobbled, but I don't really see much hope for Wobbles in this matchup. In a best of 5 especially, where Wobbles is going to have to win 3 times, I just don't really see it happening. And I think this is also going to be a clean 3-0 repeat of Battle of the Five Gods. So I don't even know what to say about Wobbles. I don't even know what to say about Ice Climbers against Puff. It looks absolutely miserable, and I don't think I can give any possible advice on how to play this matchup, so I'm sorry. So Mango versus Westballz, this has been historically really close, and especially within the past few years. Mango does have the upper advantage, winning 7 sets to 5. Westballz did defeat him last time in winner's bracket of Battle of the Five Gods in the final bracket, and Westballz has looked incredibly good. And for Mango, even if he's a step behind in tech skill or he's not moving as nice, Westballz tends to just run over him. So I feel this is more of a thing where Westballz is going to play a certain level baseline of skill against Mango. It's up to Mango to see if he can meet that baseline level skill or if he's going to go underneath it or exceed it. So when Mango's moving around and he knows what Westballz' defenses are, he runs train. But when Mango's playing a little bit sloppier and Westballz is capitalizing, it just seems like Mango's always playing from behind and he can't really get much started here. So it's going to be really interesting. This is also a possibility where if Mango realizes that on game 1 he's not really cutting it with Fox, we could actually see a Marth counterpick here, which would be really interesting. He's been playing it a lot. I actually got to have a private session with it last week. I was pretty impressed with it. Really tricky to deal with. So that will be a really interesting thing and a really interesting question if Mango's going to go Marth at any point. Even in round 1, he may potentially bust out Marth against Duck as well. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's going to be really close. I would not be surprised if Westballz just cleanly wins this 3-1 or if Mango wins this 3-0. It's going to be really polarizing. They both can be inconsistent. So ultimately, I hate to use the cliche, but it's just going to depend on who's playing better, for a lack of better analysis. So this is my analysis on round 2, based on what the current bracket is and who I perceive to win round 1.